Afternoon. So in the last class, we have discussed about the high frequency gain function. And by using this high frequency gain function, how you can write the equation for the overall gain. So as you can see from this figure, A of us is nothing but the gain, which is a function of frequency. S is the complex frequency variable. So here gain is going to be a function of S. Means with respect to the frequency, the amplifier's gain is going to be varied. Can't expect always a gain as a constant. The gain will decrease after the cutoff frequency FH. Okay, so it is a function of frequency. So that frequency function is nothing but FH. So this term is known as high frequency gain function. So this high frequency gain function multiplied by a constant AM will constitute the entire gain, which is as a function of S. So A of us is the overall gain, which is a function of frequency that is nothing but equal to midband gain AM multiplied by FH of us. FH of us is the high frequency function, high frequency gain function. AM is the midband gain. So from this equation, it is obvious that whenever this FH of S is equal to 1, that is high frequency gain function, whenever it is equal to 1, at that particular circumstance only you will get A of S is equal to AM. Means your midband gain will be constant or it will be equal to A of S only if this function becomes 1. Otherwise, if this function is less than 1 or if it is a fraction, there is no possibility for this function to be greater than 1. Always it will be less than 1. It can be 1 by 2, 1 by 4, 3 by 4. Okay, it can be a fraction which is less than 1. So whenever this function is less than 1, you can see that the overall gain will reduce, isn't it? AM multiplied by a value which is less than 1 means this A of us will decrease. So we can say that if this FH of us is equal to 1, then you will get the maximum gain, that is nothing but the midband gain. If H of us is decreasing from 1, like 1 by 2, 1 by 3, 1 by 4, 2 by 3, whatever it may be, it is a fraction whose value is less than 1, then we can say that the overall function A of us will become or will it will decrease. It will decrease from AM. So initially, until a particular frequency, you will get a constant gain. But after a stipulated frequency, what happens is the value of this FH of us will become less than 1. As a result, the overall amplifier gain, it will be less than AM or it will begin to decrease from AM. Okay, initially it was constant. So that is the speciality of FH of us. So what is FH of us? FH of us is the high frequency gain function. And why this gain decreases due to high frequency is because of the capacitances. Okay, it is because of the effect of internal as well as the junction capacitances at high frequency. They will become open circuit. Oh, sorry, they will become short circuit. At high frequency, what happens to capacitive reactance? It will decrease. If frequency increase means capacitive reactance will decrease. As a result, the capacitive reactances will appear short circuit, and due to which this FH of S value will be less than 1. Okay. Now, how this FH of S can be written? FH of S can be written in terms of poles and zeros as shown in this particular equation. So this is nothing but a fraction which is having a numerator polynomial and a denominator polynomial. The numerator polynomial is composed of zeros and denominator polynomial it will be in terms of poles. So omega p1, omega p2, etc. up to omega pn. These are all the positive numbers which represents the n number of real poles. At the same time in the numerator you are having omega z1, omega z2, etc. up to omega zn that represents n number of zeros. Okay, so these overall polynomial which is represented in the numerator as well as the n degree polynomial which is represented in the denominator, it will constitute the FH. This is nothing but a fraction having a numerator polynomial which is a function of zeros and denominator polynomial in terms of poles. How many number of poles are there? There are n number of poles and there are n number of zeros. Now, so this is what is the way of representing the high frequency gain function. You know the speciality of this function. It will be 1 for low frequencies. And after a particular cutoff frequency, that is 3 dB cutoff frequency, what happens is the frequency function will be less than 1. It may be half, quarter, 3 by 4 like that. And due to which your gain will decrease. The overall gain will decrease much below the midband gain AM. Okay, so till the high frequency, cutoff frequency fh, the gain is constant, whose value is am. And later what happens is that because of this capacitance effect, this effect of its value will be less than 1. As a result, the overall gain function will decrease. Now coming to this 3 dB cutoff frequency fh, how we are going to determine the 3 dB frequency. And what is the speciality of 3 dB frequency? That is the gain. Initially your gain will be maximum until a particular cutoff frequency, but at fh the gain is nothing but 70.7 percentage of the maximum value, that is 0.707 or 1 by root 2 times of the maximum gain. Okay, so at this particular frequency your gain is 3 decibels less than the maximum value, or 0.707 times of the maximum gain. Or in terms of power, you can say that the power obtained is half of the maximum power. That is why this frequency is also known as half power frequency or 3 dB cutoff frequency. Okay. Any doubts, Neha, till this? This is very important for your SC. Okay.
Okay, sir.
That is how you are going to determine the cutoff frequency, 3 dB cutoff frequency from this high frequency gain function. Now this 3 dB cutoff frequency is represented by fh, which is nothing but omega h divided by 2 pi, where omega h is the angular frequency. Omega h is angular frequency divided by 2 pi, that will constitute the cutoff frequency fh. Now, as you can see, when you observe this high frequency function fh of us, there are n number of zeros and n number of poles in numerator and denominator respectively. Okay, and we are trying to determine this cutoff frequency fh by using the locations of zeros and poles. First, we will identify where these poles and zeros are located, and based upon that only we are trying to find fh. Now, why you are trying to find this cutoff frequency fh? Because we have to draw the frequency, or we have to find the frequency response of the amplifier. Means how the response of the amplifier or output of the amplifier or the gain of the amplifier is getting varied with respect to change in frequency. You will be changing the frequency of the input, and according to it, you will be finding the output as well as the gain of the amplifier. So until fh, you are getting the maximum gain, that is nothing but your mid-band gain AM, and later after this fh, your gain will. Okay, so for that purpose only you are finding the cutoff frequency fh. So to find the cutoff frequency, please remember we need to find the analytically. I'm speaking. Okay, analytically we are going to locate the zeros and poles of this high frequency gain function, and based upon that only we are calculating the value of cutoff frequency. Now read this point, second point. Zeros are either at infinity or at high frequencies and has little significance in determining the cutoff frequency omega h. So normally when you take the high frequency gain function, this equation, that's previous stage, this equation, the zeros, they will locate at infinity. That is, if you plot the zeros and poles in the S-plane, that is Laplace graph, that S-plane, you will find that almost all the zeros, it will be 2 away from the origin, or it will locate at infinity. So in those cases, these zeros has little significance in determining the 3 dB cutoff frequency, or we are not going to consider the locations or values of the zeros in finding omega h. So if you're neglecting these means, what will happen? Suppose the value of omega z1 is infinity. Omega z2 is also infinity, very much close to infinity. Means anything by infinity will become 0, correct? So all these numerator terms, it will become 1. 1 plus this will become 0. Again, into 1 plus this term will become 0. So if you multiply all these n number of terms in the numerator of this particular function, the entire term will become 1. So this you can approximate as 1. Okay, so numerator, if you have n number of terms, still you will be approximating it as 1. So the equation become 1 divided by denominator, it will have 1 plus s divided by omega p1, even though you are having n number of poles in the denominator in the previous equation. If you observe this equation, you have n number of terms. Why? Because you are having n poles, omega p1, omega p2, etc. up to omega pn. But need not necessary that always all this high frequency gain function will have n number of poles. Okay, maybe you'll have one pole, maybe you'll have two poles like that. So if you have only one pole in the gain function, you need to take only this term. So you can avoid omega p2, omega p3, etc. up to omega pn. So all these n minus 1 terms you can neglect and you can retain only this particular term, that is 1 plus s divided by omega pn, so p1, that you need to put in the denominator. Clear? Neha, initially how many terms were there? Initially how many terms were there, Neha?
So,
There were n number of terms in the denominator, n number of poles were there. But if we take an example that if the high frequency function is having only one pole, means you are going to take that particular term only. Okay, so 1 plus s by omega p1. This is a general equation. But later what I'm doing is I'm trying to approximate with a single pole function. Okay, or dominant pole function. Dominant means the value of omega p1 is dominating with respect, or it is comparable, or it is very large when compared to other poles. Okay, so in that case you can neglect the values of n minus 1 poles, and if omega p1 is only the dominant pole, means only that one term will come into excess. So that is how we have approximated this particular function. And later what you can take is you can take this omega p1 approximately equal to omega h. So whenever you find a dominant pole, I'll explain the condition of dominant pole later. Okay. So whenever you identify a dominant pole in the expression, you are going to take only that pole and discard all the other poles, so that the value of that dominant pole is nothing but your cutoff. Clear? So first thing is based upon the hardware of the amplifier, means the values of resistance and junction capacitances. We are trying to derive the equation for FH of S. We are going to factorize the numerator and polynomial and denominator polynomial, and then you will get this particular equation. That is the general equation as shown on this particular page. And later what you will do is you will check whether if one of the poles out of n poles is dominant. So normally if one pole is dominant, then you will retain only that corresponding to that particular pole, so that the value of that dominant pole omega p1 will be equal to the value of cutoff frequency. Hope it is clear. Now I would like to explain how this omega h is, how this omega p1 act as dominant pole, or with respect to what rule you have fixed that omega p1 is dominant when compared to other existing poles. Even though in your expression of high frequency gain function, you have n number of poles, still you have taken only one pole as the dominant. So what is a condition to take that particular pole as dominant? The first condition is the lowest frequency pole is at least 2 octaves away from the nearest pole or zero. Suppose you have two poles in your equation. Okay, suppose the poles corresponding to the denominator polynomial, you have two poles, two number of poles. Out of this, you will take the lowest value. Suppose the lowest pole is located at 2. Then the next pole maybe it is at 8. Okay, consider the example if the first pole lies at omega is equal to 2 and the second pole lies at 4 times of the first pole, that is 2 into 4 is equal to 8. 4 times means 2 octaves. So in that case, you can say that the first pole is a dominant pole. At least it should be 4 times away from the nearest pole or zero. Then we can say that the lowest frequency pole is known as the dominant pole, and that will be the cutoff frequency of the entire amplifier. Clear? There can be a situation where there is no dominant pole. It's not necessary that in all the amplifiers you will have dominant pole. Okay, so when you analyze the high frequency gain function, how we are going to express that high frequency gain function? That will come later. That depends upon the time constant values. That is resistance and capacitance values. So that I'll tell later. But as of now, you should be able to represent a high frequency gain function in terms of factors. And from these factors, you will calculate all the poles and you will identify the dominant pole. What is the condition of the dominant pole? The lowest pole should be at least 4 times away from the nearest pole or zero. In that case, the lowest frequency will be treated as the dominant pole and it is equal to the of frequency. Now, in case if there is no dominant pole means what you have to do is you have to take all those poles into consideration. That is what is being represented in this particular slide. Here you have 2 zeros and 2 poles. So as such, you have taken all the zeros and all the poles into consideration because the zeros are not at infinity. If the zeros are at infinity means I could have discarded the values of omega z1 and omega z2 and later that numerator term will become 1. But when this example I have taken, I have assumed that the zeros are not at infinity. Means we have to take those two terms into account. Again, the two poles omega p1 and omega p2, they are not dominant with respect to each other. Neither omega p1 is dominant with respect to omega p2, neither omega p2 is dominant with respect to omega p1. So both the poles we need to consider into account in order to calculate the equation for FH of S. Okay. Why you are putting FH of S? Because you need to calculate the cutoff frequency. Why you are need to calculate the cutoff frequency? Because you are interested to plot the or analyze the amplifier's frequency response. Okay. The output or the gain of the amplifier is going to reduce after a particular cutoff frequency, nothing but FH, which is otherwise known as 3 dB cutoff frequency or half power frequency. So we need to calculate that cutoff frequency. So for that only we are going to write this high frequency gain function. Now later what we will do is you will put S is equal to j omega. You know what is S? It is a Laplace operator, which is a complex frequency term. So you can represent S as j omega. So wherever you find S, you can replace it with j omega. And now you will find a complex terms in the numerator and denominator. It is a complex number. Each and every terms are complex. Okay. Now we are going to calculate the squared magnitude of this function. Okay. What you are trying to do? You are trying to find the squared magnitude of the function fh of j omega. Till now we have calculated fh of s, and later what we did is we put s as j omega, and then you will take the squared magnitude of each and every function. So whenever you take a complex number, the squared magnitude is the what is the magnitude of a complex number? For example, a plus jb is a complex number. What is its magnitude? Modulus of a plus jb, what is that? Neha, you know what is the magnitude or modulus of a complex number? Mod a plus jb. No. Root of a square plus b square. A is the real part and b is the imaginary part. Okay. So a magnitude of a complex number can be represented as square root of 1 square. 1 is a real part. So 1 square plus what is the imaginary part here? Omega square by omega z1 square, the whole square. Okay. And you are putting the square also. Okay. Squared magnitude. Not only you are taking the magnitude, but you are taking the squared magnitude. So you need to put a square. So that square and square root will cancel. So ultimately this term will modified as shown here. That is 1 plus omega square by omega z1 square. Similarly, the second term here you have 1 plus omega square by omega z2 square. Denominator also you have modified like 1 plus omega square by omega p1 square multiplied by 1 plus omega square by omega p2 square. That is, you have taken the magnitude and square. Once you are taking the magnitude, you have to put a square root, and that square root will cancel with this whole square so that the term will become like this. Is it is clear? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now what you will do is we are trying to find the cutoff frequency. So for that, we will be focusing the frequency omega, which is equal to omega h. Okay. What is our objective? Our objective is to calculate an equation or derive an equation to calculate the cutoff frequency. So for that, whatever you have done as of now, this is the equation for squared magnitude of high frequency gain function. Calculate the cutoff frequency. We are substituting omega with omega h. What is the objective of putting this? Because we need to calculate omega h. So we are interested in only in this particular frequency. Okay, and we know that as per theory, at omega equal to omega h, the value of the high frequency gain function should be 1 by root 2. Okay, 1 by root 2 is 0.707 or 70.7%. There. So if the high frequency gain function's value becomes 1 by root 2, then we can say that the overall gain is nothing but 1 by root 2 of maximum gain. 1 by root 2 of maximum gain corresponds to your 3 dB cutoff frequency. Okay. So it is very much clear that when you put frequency omega as omega h is a 3 dB cutoff frequency, then we can say that the magnitude of this entire function, whatever you have calculated as of now, it will become 1 by root 2, so that the squared magnitude will become 1 by 2. Because 1 by root 2 the whole square is nothing but 1 by 2. Because on the left hand side of this equation, we have already found out squared magnitude of the function. So squared magnitude of that function's value is nothing but it is equal to 1 by root 2 at omega equal to omega h. So all omega, now you are going to put omega h. Wherever you see omega, you will put omega h, and the left hand side will become 1 by 2. Why this left hand side become 1 by 2? Because on the left hand side we have taken squared magnitude of the function. Squared magnitude of the function is nothing but 1 by 2. Okay. And now you will replace this omega with omega h, and then you will open the two brackets. Simplify. Just you simplify. You know how to simplify, right? Just you open the brackets. Simplify the numerator polynomial. Simplify the denominator polynomial. Okay. And then this condition, this assumption we need to incorporate. What is that? Omega h to the power 4 is neglected because omega h is very much less than omega p1, omega p2, omega z1 and omega c2. That is, the locations of zeros and poles in the S-plane are in such a way that it is very much closer, or it is very much far away from the frequency omega. Okay, this is the pole corresponding to the location corresponding to high frequency, cutoff frequency. These are all the frequencies corresponding to poles and zeros. So these poles and zeros are located in such a way that they are very far from omega h, or we can say that the value of omega h is too large when compared to omega p1, omega p2, omega z1 and omega z2. In that case, you can neglect the higher order terms like omega h to the power. So these two terms, this term in the numerator and this term in the denominator, we will neglect, so that only three terms left out in the numerator and denominator, from which you will take omega h square common. Because when you observe these two terms, omega h square is common, so that in the numerator it will become 1 plus omega h square multiplied by 1 by omega z1 square plus 1 by omega z2 square, the whole divided by 1 plus, if you take this omega h square outside, you will get 1 by omega p1 square plus 1 by omega p2 square. Okay, that is higher order terms we have neglected because of this condition. What is the condition? The pole corresponding to the cutoff frequency is very much less than the pole corresponding to zeros and poles of the high frequency gain function. So our equation become like this. Then we cross multiply and then we'll simplify. Just you cross multiply this fraction. So it will be like this. Just try to work out. Okay, this multiplied by 1 equal to 2 into 1 will become 2 plus 2 times of omega h square whole into 1 by omega z1 square plus 1 by omega z2 square. And you can see here also you have omega h square, here also you have omega h square. The left hand side also you are having the term containing omega h square, and the right hand side also you are having the term containing omega h square. So what you will do is take the terms having omega h square to the left side. So when you take this omega h square common, here you will have 1 by omega p1 square plus 1 by omega p2 square. This will come to the left side so that it will become minus. And what happened to this 2? This 2 will come over here. Correct now? So minus 2 divided by omega z1 square minus 2 divided by omega z2 square is equal to the right hand side you are having 2, the left hand side you are having a constant 1, so that it will combine 2 minus 1 will become 1 at the right. Just mathematically you have cross multiplied, then you have taken omega square combinations together, take it outside and find the value of omega h. How we are going to find omega h? Take this term to take this entire term within the bracket, you have to take it to the right side and take the square root, you will get omega h. So this is the equation for two poles and two zeros. But generally you will have n number of poles and n number of zeros in the high frequency gain function. So the whatever the equation we have derived, you will be generalizing it. Okay, for n poles and n zeros. So I have just put 1 divided by square root of 1 by omega p1 square plus 1 by omega p2 square plus etc. How many terms? There will be n number of terms here. Again, you can see here minus 2 is common for all the terms, right? So minus 2 will be taken outside, multiplied by, if minus 2 is taken outside means here it will be 1. 1 by omega z1 square. What happened to this minus? Minus is taken outside, right? So I have put minus here, so this will become plus. Minus 2 of 1 by omega z1 square plus 1 by omega z2 square, etc. up to a number of terms. This is a general way of expressing an equation for cutoff frequency omega. So there will be one numerical question from which you need to calculate the omega h. So how you are going to calculate the cutoff frequency? Only by finding poles and zeros. So first you will analyze whether there is any dominant pole or not. If there is any dominant pole, it's quite easy for you, because the dominant pole is nothing but your cutoff frequency. So you are not going to substitute in any of the formulas or calculating this omega h. Okay. So whenever you are having a dominant pole in the given circuit diagram, then you take that corresponding pole as the cutoff frequency of the amplifier. Otherwise, if there is no existing dominant pole in your circuit diagram, you need to consider the entire zeros and poles and put it in this equation. This is a general equation of expressing omega h. So whatever the poles you have, whatever the number of zeros you have, substitute here and find the value of omega h. I'll do this problem and then stop. Read this problem. Clear? So this is the high frequency gain function that you have. So from this high frequency gain function, you need to calculate the cutoff frequency. Okay. So first, what you will do, you will check whether you have any dominant pole or not. So list out the poles first. From the denominator polynomial, you can find omega p1 as 10 to the power 4. So this is nothing but your first pole, right? Whatever the figure that you're finding below S, that is nothing but your poles. First, you have to make a list having the poles and zeros. So this is one pole, which is omega p1. This is another pole, which is omega p2. But what about this? is 0. Correct. This is 0. These two are poles because this corresponds to denominator. This is in the numerator. Now, recall the condition of dominant pole. A pole is dominant if it is at least 4 octaves, sorry, 2 octaves or 4 times away from the next nearest pole. The next nearest pole is 4 into 10 to the power 4, which is exactly satisfying our minimum condition. That is, it is 4 times of the lowest pole. The lowest pole is 10 to the power 4, but this is 4 into 10 to the power 4. Again, it is satisfying our condition, right? So we can say that 10 to the power 4 is our dominant pole. So it is quite easy for us to find the cutoff frequency now, because that answer of dominant pole is nothing but our cutoff frequency. Yeah. So just by observing this figure only, we have calculated the cutoff frequency. So it is 10 to the power 4. 10 to the power 4 is nothing but 10,000 radians per second. So this is the angular cutoff frequency of the given specifications of an amplifier. But the main thing is that this method of determining this cutoff frequency is not an exact analysis. This is an approximate analysis. You can't claim that always at 10,000 radians per second you will be getting the gain, that is 70.7% of the maximum gain. There will be slight variation because you have approximated, you have neglected the effects of other zeros as well as a second pole. Originally you had 1 0 and 2 poles, but later because of this analytical rule, you have taken only 1 pole into consideration. You have removed the second pole and 1 0. So for that, this 10 to the power 4 radians per second is going to be a approximate calculation of cutoff frequency. Okay, so this is not an exact solution. So how we are going to calculate this exactly? So if you're trying to calculate it exactly, you will have to go for the general equation, whatever we have derived as of now. This is a general equation. You need to by heart this equation for your numericals. Okay. So take this equation and make it ready for 2 poles and zeros. Your 2 poles and 1 0. 0 is 10 to the power 5 and the poles are 10 to the power 4 and 4 into 10 to the power 4. So this is the equation. You just want to put in the calculators and solve the answer. So it is 9,800 radians per second. I want you to perform these 2 problems now itself. Okay. Once the class finished, you just make use of the calculator and find the answers. So you can say that, see, the exact cutoff frequency is 9,800 radians per second, but approximately if you are calculating, it becomes 10,000 radians per second. So there is a slight variation in the predicted or calculated cutoff frequency, like 200 radians per second is varied, right? So that is the difference between exact analysis and approximate analysis. So what you are performing in approximate analysis, you will find the dominant pole and you will be discarding the other pole and other zero. So only one pole is going to be considered and that value of that pole is equal to your cutoff frequency. But in the exact analysis, you are not going to find the nature of dominant pole and all. Whatever the zeros and whatever the poles you have in your expression, you will take into the consideration and put it in the general formula. Make use of the calculators to find the final answer in radians per second. You will find that never this exact analysis is going to be same as that of the approximate. There will be slight variations in the value of cutoff frequency, but it is appreciable. Okay. Any doubts? Any doubts?
Sir.
This is very important part, whatever I have taught today. So you just go through the notes and the video recordings once. Okay, so this is how the approximate and exact analysis of cutoff frequency of an amplifier is being done. So that is all for today. Okay, thank you. And meanwhile, you have to submit assignment one. Did you submit it?
Yes, sir. No, sir. I'll do it today.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.